People struggling with opioids need access to treatment, but the goal is recovery, including economic recovery. To help them reach the goal, the city has a pilot initiative called Project Opportunity, run by the Mayor's Office of Public Safety and the Mayor's Office of Workforce Development. To tell us about the initiative are the Director of the Office of Public Safety, Rufus Faulk, and the Deputy Director of Programs and Operations with the Office of Workforce Development, Bethany Serota. Thank you both very much for being with us. I want to start with Rufus because when you're talking about people who need treatment, that's only part of a bigger problem. So how does this initiative address that bigger problem as well?
Well, first and foremost, thank you for having us today, Chris, to be able to discuss this so critically important topic. So when we talk about recovery, we're talking about Corey, we recognize that those two factors are oftentimes just the tip of the iceberg. What's often underlying under the surface is oftentimes individuals dealing with trauma, the impacts of poverty, the impacts of educational system that might have not prepared them to enter into the workforce. So one of our main focuses of Project Opportunity was to not only address those underlying issues, but to address some of the systemic issues that sort of exacerbated some of those social ills that existed within some of the communities in which we serve. So we recognize that oftentimes there were some policy implications that disproportionately impacted the Black and Brown community within Boston. So we wanted to be intentional around creating a program that would directly get to those issues, which is what Project Opportunity is rooted in. So we recognize that although we see substance abuse or we see the individual battling the Corey, we recognize the individual didn't just wake up one day and have those two issues, that there were sort of systemic issues that led us to that point. So as a city, we're trying to be intentional about righting those wrongs from those sort of bad policy implications by having something that intentionally addressed those issues, which was Project Opportunity, which I'm sure my colleague Bethany Serota is going to hit at the sort of what the foundational of the program is. But the overview is that we wanted to make sure that we were being intentional about addressing some of the systemic issues that have impacted far too many for far too long. And we want to make sure that it was around how do we address this traumatic poverty and some of these other systems that have led to some of the issues that we are seeing within our city. So hopefully that answered your question.
Bethany, at Workforce Development, the focus is on helping people get access to training and job readiness. Get more particular about the focus in this initiative. What are you doing to help the people in this special needs group?
Sure. Thank you so much, Chris, for having Dr. Faulk and I on today to share a bit about Project Opportunity. When Mayor Walsh launched Project Opportunity as a pilot initiative, it was designed to help residents seal and expunge and manage their criminal records, which really is a barrier to employment and other vital resources. So we wanted to make sure that we helped residents gain access to better jobs and housing and education. And so we have our Corey Sealing and Expungement program. We've hosted at least 11 virtual Corey Sealing and Expungement clinics serving almost 200 residents. And we've also hosted a number of virtual panel discussions to highlight Corey issues and solutions. And we've reached over 400 residents doing that. We really want to encourage Corey impacted residents to participate in every aspect of Project Opportunity. So there are the Corey clinics and there are workshops. And so to that end, another aspect of Project Opportunity is connecting residents with the appropriate job training programs and employment opportunities. And that's where the Office of Workforce Development comes in under the brilliant leadership of Trin Nguyen and of course the courageous leadership of Mayor Walsh. So on each Tuesday in October, starting last Tuesday on the 6th, we're hosting a series of online career development workshops that end with a grand finale in a virtual job fair with Corey-friendly employers. Each workshop is going to focus on a key skill to help an applicant become a better prepared job candidate, such as how to create a resume, interview basics. And then I want to highlight that these events are hosted in partnership with Mass Hire and the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department. And the Suffolk County Sheriff's Department will be airing all of these virtual events behind the wall to folks who are incarcerated and anticipating release. So I guess folks can register for the events and make an appointment to discuss their Corey at the owd.boston.gov/Project Opportunity site. And we really just encourage folks to participate and be engaged and really feel motivated and know that the city's here to support, as Mayor Walsh has termed the mayor of second chances. And really, we want to support second chance citizens, gain access to as many resources as possible.
Coming back to Rufus Faulk's, to seal something and expunge something, there is a difference, and it's not as simple as hitting a delete button on a computer. So how do you help people navigate that?
So one of our major partners is Lawyers Clearinghouse. So Lawyers Clearinghouse is the entity that provides the free legal support and services for individuals impacted by Corey. And they are the ones that actually walk our applicants through the step to figure out who's eligible, what's eligible, and they walk them through the criteria and the steps to figure out what their next steps may be. And also want to give a big shout out to the lawyers that sort of support our clientele pro bono. So thanks for the Massachusetts Black Lawyers Association and other groups that are really just going through the training and providing that pro bono legal services and support for our clientele. So we have our great partnership with Lawyers Clearinghouse, and they're actually the ones who take care of the legal portion of this program. And so it's Project Opportunity is really a collaborative initiative, and Lawyers Clearinghouse is the sort of the entity that handles that piece of it.
And to add to Dr. Faulk's point, we also, as a city, absorb the costs associated with filing and processing an applicant's sealing or expungement.
Bethany, I want to ask you about the jobs. This is not the easiest time to find a job for people generally, but I guess there are some jobs out there where they need people, and these are what you might call Corey-friendly jobs. So what could that mean exactly?
Meaning that Corey is not necessarily a huge bar to employment. Maybe these are the roles where you're not interfacing with children, where the Corey requirements are more stringent. They're partners who are eager to look at folks' character, less their Corey, and say, let's give them a chance. And not only are they great workforce opportunities, but there's no ceiling. They're partners like Brigham and Women's and AutoZone, and we have a staffing agency that really helps place Surge that helps place residents in Corey-friendly positions that are long-term. We're also partnering with Newmarket Business Association, who serves as a liaison for residents impacted by Corey and as an advocate to help place Boston residents in great jobs. So Corey-friendly means that Corey is not a barrier, a huge barrier to making a gainful living in the city.
Going back to Rufus Faulk, I guess the takeaway from that is that people who might have some second thoughts about their skills, their background, their history as well, they shouldn't be scared. They should give this a shot, right?
Absolutely. We just had a City of Boston internal training this past week where we had 4 amazing panelists who were able to tell their stories, each having a Corey background, each having spent time incarcerated, but now are gainfully employed and are leaders within the community. So we're trying to do our best to not only have programming, but I think the really important part is how do we sort of change the narrative around an individual impacted by Corey, or who's really worthy of a second chance, and how do we become a more empathetic city that recognizes that many of us could have had Corys, might have had Corys, have family members impacted by Corey or in the recovery space. And it's incumbent on us to really be an inclusive city and provide access for opportunity for everyone. And that's what Mayor Walsh is all about. This is really personified by Project Opportunity and some of the other initiatives that we have as well.
Bethany, I want to have you talk about the virtual workshops that are coming up, because they include help with resumes. Resumes are a timeline or a skill set, but how do you turn that into what Rufus just described as changing a narrative? Can you really help people do that?
I think that's the goal, and that's why we've partnered with Mass Hire downtown Boston. They have very expert facilitators who are conducting these workshops. We've also partnered with Access to Justice fellow Kristen Birnbaum, who's a staunch Corey advocate, to help applicants really explain gaps in their resume during the interview process, sort of how to explain what's happening with their Corey, and also what their rights are if they feel that they've been discriminated against because of their Corey. There are avenues for redress through MCAD, through the Attorney General's office. There's the Ban the Box law. So we're really making sure that applicants are well equipped with information to sort of shift, as Rufus says, the narrative, and so that they can be an advocate on their own behalf So we're very excited about these workshops. They are designed specifically with residents impacted by CORI in mind. Some people may be incarcerated and have gained, education or work experience while they've been in prison, and we're trying to find ways, creative ways to help explain the assets that they've gained despite the barrier of having a CORI or having been incarcerated.
Well, as Rufus Faulk, one of the things I noticed about the program is you're not just helping people get hired by someone else, you're also helping them become entrepreneurs. It sounds like a stretch, but you have ways to make that work, don't you?
Absolutely. One of our initial virtual clinics that we had was around entrepreneurship and opportunities that individuals impacted by CORI may have with sort of monetizing the skill sets that they already have and not having to go the avenue of the traditional job search, and finding a way in which we could support their entrepreneurship, their sort of abilities to sort of create their own businesses. So we had entities like Dorchester Bay, who is a great partner in this space as well, trying to find funding available for individuals. We had our own City of Boston Office of Small Business, who was also a panelist on there. So we're trying to, I think, Chris, I think the best way to express it is that we are trying to carve out any avenue possible, as many options as possible for individuals impacted by CORI, but not just individuals impacted by CORI, every individual living within the city. We just want to make sure that every individual feel like they have access to every opportunity available, and that especially those individuals impacted by CORI, wants them to let them know that this city embraces them and wants to support them. So the entrepreneurship lane was just a way in which to support those individuals who are already in that space, might already have their businesses going and just needed some additional support, or those individuals who are thinking about creating a business for themselves and just need some extra sort of foundational understanding on how to do so. So that was one of the aspects that we brought.
I just mentioned that they can find video recordings on our Project Opportunity website if they happen to miss it, and that we are encouraging folks to take advantage of how to become government contractors, whether it's on the municipal level with city departments or also on the state level. So that was part of the conversation. So we encourage folks to tune into that.
Bethany, I know you have a virtual workshop coming up as well as a virtual job fair. If people want to get involved in that, what's the best way for them to follow up?
Sure. So folks can register for these events or make an appointment to discuss their CORI on our webpage. And that website is owd.boston.gov/projectopportunity.com. So it's at the Office of Workforce Development's website, and under initiatives, you would choose Project Opportunity. There are links to register for the virtual job fair and workshop series, as well as a link to make an appointment for our CORI sealing and expungement program.
Well, I'd like to thank both of you for taking your time to explain how this all works.
Thank you, Chris. Thanks for having us.
Good.
Great to see you.
It's great. Great to see you again. That's Dr. Rufus Faulk from the Mayor's Office of Public Safety and Bethany Serota from the Mayor's Office of Workforce Development. We'll have more news in just a moment.